How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lone Wolf, and today I've got number 3 in my top 5 favourite Scouts, and it is this, the Ford F750. A few you might be a bit surprised by that. In some ways, I kind of am myself. There is one thing I do have to say though. I'm aware at the minute it's underpowered, but because it has got a better engine on the way, I'm kind of still holding hope out in that respect. I'll get to that in a sec. One reason why I do like it, even though it's a Scout, it's kind of got the best of both worlds, as in I can have an autonomous winch and stuff, but I can also get truck trailers and I can actually tow truck trailers, so it's not like I'd need to bring something else like another truck that would have to load the cargo like with the Tatran. And yeah, that's one thing I definitely like about it. Like, as you can see, I've just spawned 2 trailers. I'm not necessarily suggesting it's like the best option and that it will go everywhere like this, but it pulls along the roads pretty nicely as long as there's nothing too crazy as far as off-roading goes. You could easily deliver like these 2 trailers, or at least one by itself. Another reason I like this truck is all the different options it has on it. I'll just say quickly while the footage is up, you can see I'm in high-low and it starts to slow down and I basically get to a point where I can't go any further. I've still got both trailers. When I drop it down into medium-low, I re-rev it just because sometimes once you're bogged down in the revs it's best just to blip the throttle, but it basically has more chance of making it up hills, etc. if you put it in medium-low than high-low, and I've seen a few people say that they've tried to get up hills and it's give up pretty quick, and I found the same. But yeah, if you actually just drop it into medium-low, I mean, it's not the be-all and end-all. You can see there where I was stopped, that's how much higher up the hill I got, and then I released the second trailer and it started driving again, so one trailer I can get within reason just about anywhere. But this is what I would do with it normally. If I had somewhere like the other side of the map to go, or there was like a bit of awkward off-road and stuff, I'd just stick a Dolphin on, winch it. I know with this particular setup now I haven't got the second trailer behind me, but I could actually just basically do this, stick the second trailer, or like the maintenance add-on basically, onto the Dolphin. I'm still towing the F750 and the van body thing. I also popped a loafing because of course, get yourself a loaf. And as you can see, I'm flying along as normal though in high gear, and I'm not sure if I spin the camera around, but you'll see it in a second either way. But yeah, I'm towing the lot along with me, and I suppose it's a pretty decently sized road train at the minute, but as I've done some pretty massive ones, that's what she said, it didn't seem too crazy. Just out of boredness or curiosity, wondering what would happen if I drove into that wall. I was actually alright until the F750 smashed into the back of the maintenance trailer and everything, and it kind of smashed the Dolphin into the wall. It also deleted this thing's suspension. But on a quick side note, I mean, it's not really a major factor in my top favourite vehicles, but I do like it when it has collapsed suspension for some reason. It ended up stalling a little bit there, but it also did pretty well considering how damaged the engine is. Yeah, I don't know why, I just think it looks pretty cool when it's got collapsed suspension. So next up, curiosity, I thought, well, I'll see if I can get up this mountain then, because I know I've done it with a few other trucks, and yeah, it was more for my own curiosity. I suppose in these like favourite vehicle videos, I'm not necessarily trying to repeat all the same things like as in the review, where you can kind of compare them to each other. I'm kind of picking a selection of like what I like the specific trucks for, but there was situations where I'm driving around tonight where I was like, well, I've not really tried getting up here before, I'll see if it actually can or not. And as you can see though, I'm in medium-low again, which if I was in high-low, well, I already was further down the hill. I just edited some of it out for time because otherwise this video could have easily been half an hour long, etc. Yeah, once you drop it into medium-low though, I'm actually getting up here. I mean, I certainly wouldn't say it's amazing, but I remember when I brought the Club up here, even that's like, I'm not saying, I would say this is closer to not making it than the Club, but the Club wasn't exactly flying up here. Not many trucks do. I think the Dolphin did, the Voron Grad did, but not a lot does. And I got to basically that high, and it couldn't quite get the rest of the way, so I let off a bit. It rolled back a little bit further than I'd planned on, but I was basically trying to just go over to this side. I've done this before with other trucks, so I knew it'd have a better chance than like that little last snow patch that I was driving on, because it gets pretty damn steep just after that. And yeah, it's, again, very close. So this is one reason I do prefer the chain, though I believe now if I had muds on, I don't think it would get up here. I think it'd wheel spin, particularly on these like bare rocks where there's no snow or anything. But yeah, I mean, it's like I say, it's a little bit iffy, but in some weird ways, that's like one of the reasons why when I have drove this, I quite like it. Is it kind of enhances the feel of the game in the sense of, I don't know, it's clearly underpowered at the minute. So like I say, I'm giving it kind of a little bit of a free pass for that. Not completely, but again, I'll get to that in a minute. Yeah, it's like with the Tatran, like I said, and I mean, the Tatran was 4th in the list, this is 3rd, so they're pretty close. This has got more versatility with the add-ons and all the rest of it, and it can tow trailers. But the Tatran just feels like beast mode, whether you're on a road or off-road. This thing kind of like, even though it sits on like the surprising side of what it can actually do, considering it's pretty gutless at the minute, yeah, I always end up feeling like pretty happy about the results in the end. It was like, well, I thought it'd give up then, but it didn't quite do it, and it just it sort of feels like only just, but it scrapes its way through a lot of stuff, which I suppose as part of the game kind of is quite a good feeling, because it's like, yeah, you want the challenge of the terrain, but you also, ultimately, you want to beat the terrain, and obviously sometimes I absolutely want to wipe the floor with the terrain, and then I'll get myself a dolphin and a loaf or something, but other times you kind of want to, yeah, play it a bit risky, push your luck, see how far you can go before the game finally tells you that it's not happening. But you can see down here though, when I'm in high gear, like, that's what I like about this truck, that I can kind of feel the raw ingredients are there for a very nice truck. Like, the steering is basically perfect on it for like the size of the Scout and all the rest of it. Yeah, it's got, I can have like advanced winches, but I've also got the autonomous option. Like, I would definitely choose truck trailers over like the Scout trailer options. But you can see here it's still going along pretty nicely, and I hit that bit and it went to stall in high. But I don't even go to high-low at the minute. I'm still in auto, and it's clawing its way through to the point where I'd be happy with like this, because I know this is a bit of an awkward bit anyway. It's basically near where you grab the TUZ. And yeah, because I know an engine is coming out in the next update, which I wish they'd bloody hurry up with, to be honest. See, again though, collapse the suspension. I smashed over loads of ice all night. It was one of the only times I actually hit it and nearly, well, I did delete the suspension, but yeah. But going for a little drive, I mean, the only thing better than an F750 is a goddamn horse with a vehicle on the back. I mean, it's practically like it was made for it. Right now, I was dreaming about massive axle loafs. Axle loaf, of course, member of Guns N' Loafses, famous for such songs as Sweet Child O' Loaf, You Could Be Loaf, Paradise Loaf, and Sybil Loaf. Good stuff. Yeah, I mean, this is how easy it is to pop a loaf on the back. You could put the single cargo thing on, but if I'm honest, I wouldn't bother. As soon as I got this truck and it had no add-ons on the back, I could see, I knew what was going to happen. I popped a loaf on the back, and it sits perfectly on like the ladder frame chassis, I suppose. Its wheels sit either side of the rears, so you're not catching any wheels or anything. And as you'll see as I'm driving along, it's as if this loaf is bolted to the chassis of this thing. I mean, because it's goddamn professional and it knows what it's doing. But I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but that is a van body add-on. And again, having dreams of loafs with massive axles, the possibilities, far too good. Can't wait till we get mods. I wish they'd hurry up again with, I don't know, just the next update, mods, whatever. They need to hurry up with it. This game, like, I think they absolutely nailed it when they released this game and all the rest of it, and I still think it's a brilliant game now. However, it does feel like the kind of the genius end of people that were behind this game, like the actual passionate ones. Now the game's released, they've probably earned themselves a well-earned holiday, that's fair enough, but it's kind of like people who don't really understand the game as well have taken over, and it's probably people in suits that just care about money and they don't really give a shit about games or gamers, and it's just like, have as minimum staff as possible to save on like paying wages or whatever, move everyone on to the next game, fair enough. Like 10-20 years ago, when say SNES built the SNES and then did Super Mario Brothers, like it only had to work on Super Mario Brothers, sorry, it only had to work on the SNES, and then once it's out, that's it, there's no update, so the whole company can kind of move on to the next game, and that's kind of the way the sort of that business works really. But then these days, when you've got games that you can update and they're working on all kinds of different systems with different software updates and all the rest of it, there's a lot of like post-launch work that needs doing, and I kind of feel like a lot of companies, EA, Activision, Ubisoft, they're all guilty of it, Bethesda or whatever they're called. Like, they just don't keep enough staff on to keep it going at the pace that it should be, really, because they've already cashed in the majority of their money. And I still have to say, in its defence, I still think it's a bloody good game, and when you actually look at games like Fallout 76, that I believe are still broken as all hell, and there's loads of games like Madden, is it Madden 21 or whatever, the NFL thing that's just came out, as everyone's saying, it's basically just a reskinned version of the previous game that was a reskinned version of the previous game, and it's still got bugs in that version that's just came out that were in the game 3 or 4 years ago. It's like, that's just, they don't even bother attempting a new game, whereas this absolutely smashed it out the park compared to MudRunner. So I'm not hating on them, but I'm just being honest. I do think they're being a bit, I wouldn't say slack, it's just like they're missing the ball on, like, get the updates out, get mods in the game. With 4 months odd in, and we've only had one update, and apparently this second, or part 2 of phase 1 is delayed, so we'll see. But like I say, I know it's a bit of a ramble. I do think it was a fuck up on their part not just adding the proper engine to this thing when we first got it. I still think it's a bugged engine, to be honest, because even as you scroll through all 3 engines, I remember someone was saying that maybe, like, it's not glitched, it's just the power to weight and that doesn't go up, but then the third engine compared to the first says that the fuel consumption's a lot higher, and yet the fuel consumption or whatever stays like where it is. Yeah, it's as if there's no stat change between the engines. But either way, I suppose they've potentially addressed that problem with some better engine that's in the next map. But yeah, they just need to hurry up with that next map, would be nice. So while I've been rambling over that, I mean, I've just been cruising around with the loaf on the back, and as you can see though, it went across like the muddy, icy, swampy bit that was a bit earlier. It went over the super snow, again not rapid, but the thing itself isn't really rapid anyway, and yeah, it just kind of motors along at a, it's bordering on, like, well, I would say it is too slow, I want it to be faster, but if I actually put it next to the Tatrin, I bet it, like, they're probably not far off each other. And yeah, like I said, this one just, and it's not, well, it's like the Tatrin would beat this easily, but that's where it's almost like the Tatrin's set itself a higher bar, and it doesn't achieve like high over that bar as this does. I had a lower bar set for this, and yet it still feels pretty cool, even going up here. I mean, it's still actually made it up here pretty hassle-free, bouncing over rocks. Like I said, the loaf hasn't fell off. And I just like all the different, yeah, options. Like, I like the fact that it's got the pickup body, it's got like the custom one with the, I don't know, you're almost bordering on like some type of Mad Max vehicle by the time you've got all like the roll cage roof racks and everything, and the custom pickup body. You've got like the little middle add-on between the chassis and the cab that is more repair points or fuel or whatever. And I think once you've got everything added onto this, it's 500 repair points, which again is pretty cool. I mean, it's a bit like the TUZ with the van repair body. I suppose this is just like a different setup. And even with the loaf on the back now, I don't know how many off the top of my head repair points and everything are on the small roof rack on the F750, but with the loaf as well, with 300, I've still got 450. Obviously I've got a spare winch. I could even have like the advanced winch on the loaf and the autonomous on this F750, and then I'm definitely getting everywhere I want to go. I also think, all things considered, it's pretty decent on fuel. I've not noticed that it's like anything bad anyway. I've not really noticed having to fill it. I did fill it up once earlier, but I was driving around for like an hour or two easily, I would have thought, so that's fair enough. Yeah, climbing through that ice does pretty well through there as well. Just that's what I mean. It's always like pleasantly surprising how nicely it does once you actually throw it at some of the harsher terrains. I mean, even through here, like, obviously the Dolphin is a beast, it's got plenty of power, plenty of grip and all the rest of it, and even the Dolphin goes pretty slow through here. or can do anyway. Like, admittedly, I'm usually like towing a road train or something when I've recently been doing it, so it's probably at a bit of a disadvantage. But yeah, as you can see, if I was just travelling along with these two, exploring the map, like right now, I've not got that impatient feeling, not by much, but because I'm just enjoying the truck and it is making its way through at a decent pace, I kind of feel like, yeah, it's just strangely enjoyable, and I like driving it around, really, even not doing a whole lot in particular. I mean, I've scouted everything like the day it comes out or whatever anyway, so scouts in general, I mean, I suppose that was one reason why this ended up beating the Tatran on the list, is because the Tatran, as great as it is, it's like, it is more a pure scout vehicle, and it does tow trailers very well if you just attach the winch, but now you've lost your winch option, and the trailer isn't attached to you, your Tatran, so if the trailer starts to tip, there's no resistance to stop it and all the rest of it. But yeah, I'd already scouted everything near enough. By the time I found the Tatran, I had half a Zimnegorst left to scout, I believe, and that was it. So it was kind of like its purpose was sort of negated by the time I pretty much found it. Whereas this thing has still got so many other options. Yeah, just to kind of join in on the game. Like I said, with scouts, in this game, I certainly, generally speaking, prefer trucks and go out in trucks. Obviously, always take a low for me because it's a goddamn horse of a vehicle. But scouts, yeah, complement the trucks very well. And if I was going somewhere, the fact that this thing has got a load of repair points and all the rest of it, it just feels good. Like, even, again, with the steering as well. I suppose that's another way that it beat the Tatran, is the steering on this thing does feel great. The Tatran does feel like it's very slow steering. It's got quite a wide steering angle and all the rest of it. If I could pay, as I've said before, 50 grand per vehicle to put this steering on the trucks, like the Scout, the Loaf, sorry, I think has got perfect steering because it's a tiny little thing. I'm not just saying it because I know I'm biased for the Loaf, but I actually would say the Loaf's probably got better steering than this because it's even quicker and more responsive, and it pings back to the middle quick and all the rest of it. But for the size of this truck Scout thing, yeah, I would pay to put it on the Vorongrad, the Dolphin, I don't know, most of my top 10 vehicles really, because it's just nice and responsive, it centres itself very quickly, and yeah, overall it's good. You see, getting down there, went through that like narrow rock gap, drove over all the rocks down there. It just keeps going when you would think by now, especially how gutless it feels just going along a straight road, you kind of think, oh crap, this is not looking good for it. So, as I said, a chunk of this is kind of, I feel like the raw ingredients are there, and I know that a better engine is coming, so I'm kind of holding out for that, whereas if I knew a better engine was coming for the Derry 4520, I'd have kind of held off on that a bit, and I still kind of don't blame the Derry 4520, they've given it a shit engine, and there's not really a lot it can do about it, it's just, it hasn't been equipped for this game properly. Yeah, like I said, neither is this, but at least there is an option on the way, so yeah. And going through this ice, I dropped through the ice now, it was having none of it. I'm basically stuck, as you can see. I couldn't reverse, couldn't go forward. You see, you get yourself a moral support Loaf, stick the winch on, and this is what I was just saying the other day, that's why I left it in, is once you attach a winch, even though the Loaf's on me, so I'm obviously not winching to anything, it's like the game mechanics give you some kind of break for just having a winch attached to something and hoovering it in, and then I drive out of there, and we're off. I'll believe it is now when I've filled it up with fuel, or pretty soon, but as you can see, I've been like a massive figure 8 lap of the map and all sorts, so yeah. I'd say, I'd definitely say it's worth getting if you got Lake Coved. Yeah, get it. And fingers crossed, when they release the new engine, I'll probably do a separate update on it, like a review. So anyway, that's about it for today though. I hope you've enjoyed. Get yourself a Loaf, get yourself an F750. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon.